Well, my presentation pack collection folder number 2. Hopefully you've seen the first one, so this video isn't going to need much of an introduction, but I will just say that according to what I've written on the side here, it goes from the 15th of the 7th, 1970 to the 13th of the 8th, 1975. So in the early 70s, they did pack a lot more in than they released in the 60s. Although, to be fair, looking at the dates, not a massive amount more, certainly far less than they pack into a year these days. But yeah, so I should just get the folder out and we can get started and go through it. And hopefully you find some of it interesting. So, folder 2 then. And again, we've got the little index card that I've done here. Hopefully telling everyone the information about it. So we start off with Commonwealth Games Edinburgh 1970. This is another one that's had to be repouched. Olympia 1970, which is, I suppose, Stamp Olympia. I don't know. I'm not a fan of these compound words that take two things and squash them together. Not keen on that really at all. But again, this is another one that's had to be repouched. Christmas 1970, and then we're back to some definitives now. This is when, well, I suppose it is that situation now, but basically the stamps are just they've started to diversify into different countries. So the UK ones anyway, they've started to diversify into different countries. So you've got all the different definitives of varying different places. Now the Scotland one I've got here is that's been repouched. So is the Northern Ireland one here, but the Wales and Monmouthshire one is in its original shrink wrap and it looks really good. And again, this is slightly shorter for the cardboard, so I'm assuming that is a thing that happened where they just, I don't know, maybe if you were doing one of them it wouldn't have saved that much money, but if you're doing, say, 1 million of these, you might save a fortune in plastic. Decimal definitives. This is another one that's in its original wrapping, but again, it's slightly started to distort. So, and I think there is actually a tear here somewhere where it has just distorted. The cardboard is distorted through the plastic. Ulster 71 paintings, again in the original wrapping, not that distorted. Some more regional, these are the decimal definitives now, and 2.5p obviously. There's a bit of a misconception with decimalised currency that the halfpenny was dropped. The halfpenny was not dropped, the halfpenny became half new penny. The halfpenny didn't disappear until about 80, I think. So that still continued on for quite a few years. And as you can see from the stamps, and not only, as you can see here, the year previous they were still using the Wilding definitives. They then moved on to the Machin definitives. So the decimal definitives there, and then the regional definitives there, which were all basically the same stamp, only with a different design for the top left-hand corner, denoting the region that it's from. So yeah. Anyway, I was going to say I'm getting off topic, but I'm sort of not, because if you're not a stamp collector, you wouldn't be watching this, probably. And if you are, you probably find this interesting anyway. Even if it's information you already knew. You just like people talking about stamps, don't you? Because I sort of do as well. So anyway, there's the Scotland ones. And again, this is in the original wrapping. Same for the Welsh ones. That's in the original wrapping. And the Northern Ireland ones. Although, again, this has started to go a bit... the Isle of Man ones have been repouched. Now, I'm not sure exactly when Jersey and Guernsey split, from the official UK post office. I imagine it was around this time, because not only do I not have it, but it wasn't issued by the British Royal Mail. Whereas basically it works like this: I can walk into a post office, a Royal Mail post office in England, and I can buy Scottish definitive stamps. I can buy, well, I mean, I still can now. I can buy Wales definitive stamps. And again, they've dropped Monmouthshire. I don't know what that's about. I can buy Northern Ireland definitive stamps, and I can buy. Well, actually, I can't. You can't buy Isle of Man ones anymore. I don't think. No, you can't. You get England definitives instead from British post offices. So Isle of Man drops off at some point in the future as well. But I can buy them at any post office in the UK. I don't have to be in Northern Ireland, say, to buy Northern Irish definitive stamps. I can buy them here because UK Royal Mail sell them. What they don't do, and what they stopped doing at this point, was all the Channel Islands. So Jersey, Guernsey, and is it Anglesey? Not Anglesey. Alderney. So basically, the Channel Islands dropped off the map at this point, and I'm not sure why. I assume it's some political reason, probably. The Isle of Man, obviously, again drops off later. And who knows what the Isle of Wight's doing, to be perfectly honest. They're a law unto themselves. So anyway, but I just think it's interesting that, at this point, where are we here? In fact, they've dropped off, just for probably in the previous folder, there were, Channel Island definitives, and now they're not. Anyway, so literary anniversaries, again in the original cellophane, but a bit bowed. General anniversaries in the original cellophane. What's that one? Modern university buildings has been repouched. Christmas 1971 is in the original cellophane, but is basically turning into a D shape here, so is probably need an upgrade at some point for that. To pay labels, this is something interesting, because although some stamp collectors won't have these as stamps, I will, because they came out as a presentation pack. So they are an official presentation pack issued by the UK Royal Mail. But because they're not actually valid for postage, a lot of people won't collect these as stamps. And to be perfectly honest, me myself, if it was single stamps, I might not bother. Because I'd be the same sort of reasoning behind that. Because they're not valid for postage, they're not real stamps. There is that argument. But I collect presentation packs. They were issued as a presentation pack. Therefore, they are in a collection of presentation packs. That's my view on it. But this is something that would be entirely optional to most people's collections. They could take them or leave them. But like I say, I collect presentation packs. This is a presentation pack, and it was issued by the Royal Mail. So, therefore, deserves a spot in the collection. Then I've got a couple of gaps. British Polar Explorers, all them famous ones there. I've learnt a lot doing this. 1972 general anniversaries. Now, I had the Tutankhamun one. I actually had a first day cover of this that was from the British Museum. And it was like a 3D thing with like a Tutankhamun on the front of the envelope and like this little plastic badge thing on the front of it. And I mean, I don't know if it was worth anything, because I got a load of them by accident, sort of thing. When I was ordering a few presentation packs in bulk, and quite often, especially these 70s ones, when you bought them off somebody, they would turn up with a first day cover as well as the presentation pack with the mint stamps. And this one I got with the Tutankhamun was utterly fantastic, but I just sold them as a bulk lot, because, to be perfectly honest, I ended up with box loads of first day covers I just didn't want and couldn't be arsed selling individually. But I do have to say that one that I had with the Tutankhamun was absolutely fantastic. If I can be after finding it, I might put a picture up of it, because I think I did have one, but maybe it went when my hard drive crashed, so I might not have it anymore. Anyway, village churches. Again, this one is in the original cellophane, but as you can probably see, it's started to go on the wonk, like a lot of them. The BBC broadcasting history. This one actually took me quite a while. No, it wasn't that one. No, because I bought a few of these at the same time. So this one was actually relatively easy to find, although I have had to repurchase it. Same with the Christmas one. Same with this has been repurchased as well. This one here though took me ages to get with all three stamps. For some reason, even in proper stamp shops, I have seen this with two stamps in it. Now, I don't know if that is a different issue of this is the European Communities Pack. I don't know if there was two separate issues. Maybe there was. But I have seen this on more than 3 or 4 occasions now in actual stamp shops with just two stamps in it. And I don't know why. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is a 3 stamp set. But although, as you can see, you might be able to see from this, these two are actually joined together, and this one is separate and in a slightly different shade of background. So I honestly don't know. I don't know enough information on this set of stamps to even have a guess as to why that might be the case, that you often see these two together in the pack without this one, but sometimes you see all three, even though this one clearly isn't connected to these two, like physically connected I mean, and is a slightly different shade. So if anyone knows, please put it in the comments, because I mean it's not going to affect me now because I've got all three in a pack, but it's interesting. It would be interesting to me to know why that's the case. It might be interesting to other people that are watching, unless they've all got bored and gone away. Oak trees one. This might be a funny one. It was either this one or there's another trees one coming up soon. No, it was the other one. That's what it was. Never mind. That's just an oak tree. I've got a funny story about the other one that's coming up soon. British explorers. Oh look, county cricket, British painters. These are just sort of standard commemorative packs. Nothing really that special about them. In fact, most of these are pretty common. The trees ones can go for a bit depending on what they are, but all the rest of these are really common. The Parliamentary Conference, Indigo Jones. The Royal Wedding one is probably the most common of all. This, I mean, you can walk into any stamp shop in the country and every single one of them will have like 100 of these. These are not difficult to find, although I think that is the original cover, because I think they started putting these more flexible plastic ones on them towards this point in the 70s. I could be wrong, but I think that's the case. Yeah, because all of mine from this point on seem to have a slightly more flexible plastic on the outside. So anyway, Christmas 73. Yeah. And again, Mason definitives for the different territories: Northern Ireland, Scotland. What country's that? Wales. I've just had a mind blank then. What's that? It's because I'm looking at it upside down. It's difficult to tell really what it is. It looks like some massive distended frog. I don't know. Anyway, this is an interesting one. So you've got basically this thing. This pack is wrongly shown as number 58 on the reverse of the cover, as it should be numbered 59. Now, I've never seen one that says 59 on the back. Maybe this was reprinted, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But the funny story is, I ordered this pack off somebody on eBay, and just randomly. It could have been anyone. It wasn't because it was particularly cheap or anything like that. It was just basically the first one that came up in the search index that was at the price or under the price that I wanted to pay. And I ordered this, and I'm not even joking with you. The thing turned up, and bearing in mind this was sold, not this particular one, but the one I received was sold as a mint condition presentation pack, and the photo they put up on eBay was basically this, with the thingy and the full pack and everything. What I actually got was a small piece of black card with a cellophane flap over the front with the stamp in it. There was no presentation pack. All this cardboard insert, the little note here, none of that was there. It was basically just a stamp and sort of this much cardboard around it. So quite rightly I complained and got my money back, and I had to rebuy this. But like I say, this is interesting anyway because it comes with this note about reprinting. Now, to my knowledge, I don't think this was ever reissued. So every single one of these that you buy should come with this little piece of paper in it. If it doesn't, do check the back, because I think if it was reprinted, the reprinted version might actually be a rarer variant than the original version with this explanation-y bit of paper. So do check, because accidents do happen and stuff does get reissued, reprinted from time to time, you know. So check your collection to see, maybe you have one. I've never seen one, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That just means that I don't know about it, usually. So anyway, fire service, fire engines from the past. The Universal, no, not Universal, is it United Postal Union or Universal Postal Union? It's the UPU Postal Union, anyway, so that's the thing. Great Britain's Churchill Centenary. There is also a presentation pack of the Churchill Centenary, which is like, it's a bit bigger, and the stamps are on like little raised plinths within the pack. I did have one. I've since sold it because I had no way of displaying it. It's too big to fit in any of my folders, and it's got like a 4mm raised plinth behind every stamp. It's completely useless, but if you're a fan of Churchill, it might be the thing to go for. So it is a thing that exists. But I don't have it anymore, so I can't show you. Christmas 1971, again a Christmas pack. This is another one of these post office miss packs, the handicap charity one. This is the price on this is going up and up and up, basically as we speak. So if you want one of these, get it now, before it goes up anymore. Turner is a painter apparently. Not the guy who cuts sharks in half. He just won the Turner Prize. So there you go. That's all I need to know about that. European Architectural Heritage Year. Yeah, we won't be seeing any more of them because we're not in Europe anymore. There's a sailing one and one on railways. And that brings us to halfway through 1975. So yeah. That's it for this folder. So that was folder number 2, 1970 to 75. A lot of interesting presentation packs there, hopefully. Some gaps, because, you know, some of these things are quite difficult to track down, especially the definitives ones. But not as many gaps as the previous folder, which is good. Because the 70s ones are relatively easy to get hold of, provided you know what you're looking for. So, that's pretty much it. Now, there will be a third video at some point, just when I get around to doing it. So, I think all that's left really for this one is to say I hope you enjoyed it. There's going to be an end card coming up here right about now. This will be a previous video, this one will be a random video, and this one will be a subscribe button, so please do click on that. And that's it, and hopefully I'll see you in another video.